Nothing quite like opening Sunday of the NFL season here inside Raymond James Stadium. The countdown continues to the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Today's game being brought to you in Sony High Definition. Well, two franchises trying to rest. Eric Mancini manning the sidelines beginning year 2 at the helm of the Cleveland Browns. His job security anything but healthy in 2009, but he is back. His counterpart is the youngest head coach in the NFL, 34-year-old Raheem Morris, also beginning year 2 here in Tampa. Well, the Pirates ship, they are out in full force here at Raymond James Stadium. Kickoff is upon us. Tampa Bay winning the toss, have elected to receive. There is Phil Dawson. You see his handiwork last season on to kick it away for the Cleveland Browns. Michael Spurlock, the third-year man from Mississippi, 27 years of age, is back deep to return for Tampa Bay. Opening day here in Tampa. We are underway. Tampa and the Cleveland Browns. It is caught by Spurlock. He'll take a knee in the end zone. And the Bucs will come out 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Kansas City native Josh Freeman back at the helm of the Bucs. This is first full season at the quarterback position. Took over week number 9 last year, coming in for Josh Johnson. And boy, how he plays will really be the big factor in determining where this Tampa team goes in 2010.
And keep an eye on the quarterback center exchange. You know, he hasn't practiced a lot in the last 2 weeks of the preseason. He's missed some critical reps. That thumb still very sore. He's going to overlap his thumb for the snap of the ball. But we didn't really see him throw a lot of great throws on Friday. So I'm anxious to see how he plays.
Cadillac Williams coming back from those 2 devastating knee injuries. First time last season, played a full 16-game schedule. 8 yards on first down. It sets up a 2nd and short. Take a look at the backs and receivers for the Bucs. I mentioned just 3 wins a year ago, and this is what they look like up front. Donald Penn signing that 5-year contract extension recently at the left tackle position. Backs and receivers, see what they have to line up with here. Kellen Winslow, 5 tumultuous seasons with the Cleveland Browns, today facing his former team for the first time. Cadillac Williams will split out here in the slot. 2nd and short for Freeman. Freeman very dangerous, rolling out of the pocket, can use his feet, and appears to be just short of the first down marker. Picks up a yard. Sheldon Brown, the former Philadelphia Eagle, makes the tackle. Take a look at the defensive starters for Rob Ryan's Cleveland defense. Ataba Rubin, the 3rd-year man from Iowa State, getting the start. Sean Rogers, coming back after a 10-month layoff, will not start but will see significant action off the bench. Scott Fujita, their lone, a big offseason defensive acquisition in terms of the linebacking core, and rookie T.J. Ward making his first NFL appearance in a starting role at the safety position. 3rd and 1, the give is to Ernest Graham, the fullback. Very close to the first down marker. It'll depend on the spot. Had to get to the 30. And they will move the chains. It's a Tampa first down.
Boy, really nice job inside there by Rubin. They just picked it up by a little bit. But I really think this Cleveland defense, as you study them, Spiro, they've really upgraded the town on that side of the ball. You mentioned Chris Gokon coming over from Philadelphia, Scott Fujita getting him from New Orleans, Sheldon Brown in the trade with Philadelphia, and of course, young players in the secondary, T.J. Ward and Joe Hayden, who will see a lot in their sub packages.
So 1st and 10 for Tampa from their own 30-yard line. Here's Williams. Not much room to maneuver again. Rubin and a host of Cleveland defenders there to make the tackle. The linebacker, Matt Roth, got there first.
And you think about these 2 defenses today, the Cleveland Browns were 31st a year ago in terms of stopping the run, and of course the Buccaneers were dead last. So if I'm calling plays for either of these teams offensively, I got to make sure that we challenge them in the running game. We run the ball with some success on first down.
Rob Ryan, the twin brother of Jets head coach Rex Ryan. Had a chance to sit down with Rob last night at the Cleveland Hotel.
Love the 2 tight end sets here. You'll see a lot of this with Tampa Bay early in this football game.
2nd and long. Freeman throwing. It's complete at the 35-yard line to the tight end, Jeremy Stevens, the 9th-year man out of Washington.
We talked about Josh Freeman and this thumb injury. He's overlapping the right thumb on top of the left thumb. You see it separate there a little bit. He did not take a lot of snaps in practice this week. In fact, he didn't really take much at all on Thursday. They're really trying to protect that thumb. Very sore. It's still swollen. We got to look at it on Friday. It looked ugly, but he's going to tough it out. And I thought, he threw the ball pretty well. I didn't see him drive it. That was my one concern coming out of practice.
8-yard pass play to Stevens sets up a 3rd down and short from the 40-yard line. Freeman's pass is complete over the middle. It's a 1st down and more. And there is the rookie Mike Williams, the first-year man from Syracuse, 9 yards and a Tampa 1st down. Now, Rich, you mentioned the injury. Josh Freeman fracturing the tip of that thumb, 2nd week of the preseason. Missed nearly 3 weeks of practice. That's a painful injury to deal with.
Yeah, he just actually came down on the helmet of a defender in Kansas City, Tom Bahali. He goes to the sidelines. He knew right away something was wrong. Saw a hand specialist, had his hand in a cast for a couple weeks. He's just getting back.
Freeman with the pitch to Cadillac Williams. Running towards the sideline inside Tampa territory, picks up 5 yards. And so far they've had a nice job on 1st down. Williams looking good, showing some burst here early in this game.
And you think about what this guy has been through the last couple of years. Cadillac Williams, it's amazing. He's really defied the odds coming back from 2 consecutive reconstructive knee surgeries on both knees. There was questions whether or not he'd ever be able to have the production that he did as a rookie. I thought he played really well last year, was their leading rusher with 823 yards. He looked very good in practice on Friday.
Williams, a torn patellar tendon in both knees, did the right in 07, came back, a miraculous recovery from that. Doctors doubted from day one whether he'd ever be at full strength, then did the same injury in the opposite knee the following year. And here he is after a full 16-game slate in 2009 on opening day.
As you take a look at the Bucs offensively, substitution personnel is going to be a big thing in this game. You see players coming on and off the field. Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, he likes to vary it up. He likes to change personnel groupings, formations, motions, and shifts. He really thinks it slows down the defense and really forces them to adjust on the fly. You see Josh, he's doing a much better job taking control of things this year, making the protection calls at the line of scrimmage. He's much more comfortable in this system.
3rd down, Freeman flushed from the pocket, throws and completes to Kellen Winslow. His first reception of the day, but well short of the 1st down. Actually lost a yard, and Tampa will have to punt.
And that's what you want to do with Josh Freeman. If you're going to make him move, you prefer him to move to his left. Very difficult to make that throw for a right-handed quarterback, but they're concerned about Josh Freeman once he gets outside the pocket. They're also concerned about this guy right here, Joshua Cribbs, the best return player in the game.
Cribbs, 1 punt return for a touchdown last season, 2 in his career, in addition to those 8 kick return touchdowns. Punt is booted away. Tampa take a Cleveland bounce outside the 10, out of bounds at the 13-yard line. And that is where Jake Delhomme and the Cleveland offense will take over. 34-yard punt early here in Tampa. We're scoreless. Here in Tampa, Cleveland gets his first shot after Tampa's opening drive stalled right around midfield. Here is Jake Delhomme, the 35-year-old quarterback under center. And right at the start, Joshua Cribbs lines up at the wide receiver position. First completion to the backup fullback, Peyton Hillis, beginning his first season with the Browns. And there is Jake Delhomme. Long career with the Carolina Panthers, 7 years. See what he did in 2009, his worst statistical season of his career. His preseason so far, a different story. Coming into today's game, the completion percentage way up. And a good start picking up 16 yards on that 1st down reception. Jerome Harrison is the running back. Cleveland keeps it on the ground. Here it's Peyton Hillis on the tape. And Hillis is stuffed, able to get back to the line of scrimmage as the clock continues to run. We'll take a look at the starters for Cleveland up front. See how they will line up. Joe Thomas, multiple Pro Bowls at the left tackle position, backs and receivers. See what they have to work with. Jerome Harrison, that incredible run over the final 3 games last season, 561 yards, including 286 in a Week 15 game against Kansas City. Game, by the way, that Rich Gannon had the privilege of broadcasting. Here is Delhomme. Second down, pass is complete outside the 30-yard line. It's Harrison out of the backfield. Harrison short of the first down, brought down after a pickup of 7 yards. Take a look at these starters defensively. Back to the Tampa 2 defense. Mentioned Gerald McCoy, their prized draft choice, taken with the number 3 overall spot. Try to shore up that run defense, which was dead last in the NFL last season. Akeem Talib, their quarterback, suspended today. E.J. Biggers making his NFL debut in a starting role today. Here is Delhomme working from the shotgun on 3rd down and 3 from the 36. Delhomme has time, passes incomplete. In and out of the hands of the tight end, Benjamin Watson. And the Browns will punt.
Well, they really like these combination coverages here in Tampa, and you can see right there, really nice job with coverage by Tim Crowder. You're really a defensive end. They're asking you to do some different things to drop in coverage against the tight end. He gives you that kind of flexibility with his athleticism.
Browns first-year punter Reggie Hodges. That was booted away very close. Takes a Cleveland bounce inside the 30. And they'll down it right around the 29-yard line. So Delhomme's first series with this Browns offense, a 3-and-out, 34-yard punt from Hodges. 0-0 here in Tampa.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The new 2011 Mustang, a whole new breed of car. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Now the pomp and circumstance of opening day as we rejoin you from Tampa. Both teams coming up empty on their opening drives as Josh Freeman and his Tampa offense back onto the field. There's Greg Olsen. Rich talked about him last season in a very difficult spot. Rich took over the play calling duties and the coordinator position just 10 days before week number 1. Here is Cadillac Williams on first down, picks up just a couple of yards. You talk about being in a tough spot. 10 days before the first game, that's almost impossible for Olsen. Really amazing, the fact that he didn't work with any of the staff. So he spent pretty much the first 3 or 4 weeks trying to bring them up to speed before they really focused in on what they were doing offensively. But they went back this offseason and they really cleaned up this offense. They hired a quarterback coach in Alex Van Pelt. They spent a lot of time with the young quarterback, Josh Freeman. He feels like they're much further along. Josh, in year 2 now, things starting to slow down. He's playing the game much faster. Williams' 5th carry of the day, bounces it out past the 30-yard line. Well, had some room early and then was wrapped up quickly, picks up 2 more yards. Tackle made by Chris Goldkong and Mike Adams, the backup safety. Now you think about the development of a young quarterback, and it's not so much if he's ready to play, because for the most part, I don't believe that they are as rookies. It's more about whether your team is ready. And you look at the Buccaneers last year, clearly they weren't. You think about the lack of production at wide receiver. The running back was coming off of an injury. They're developing this offensive line. The defense really struggled. A much different situation you think about a couple years ago with a guy like Matt Ryan in Atlanta or even Joe Flacco in Baltimore. They were surrounded with a lot of talent. 3rd and 6 for Freeman here. Feels the pressure. Well, Freeman's a big guy. Have to fight to get him down. They do. As he is sat down at the 30-yard line, and Tampa will be forced to punt. Scott Fujita, former New Orleans Saint, coming off a championship with the Saints last season, got there first. You're going to see the pressure from here. They're actually going to see Joe Hayden. He's going to come outside the screen. You're going to see him. He's the corner at the bottom. They bring a corner pressure as well. Josh Freeman does not handle it. This ball has to come out quick. They're going to test Josh Freeman early, Spiro. They want to make sure that he has answers for these pressures. Not a great punt here by Chris Bryant, Australian rules football kicker, just recently signed to the roster. As he shanks that one somewhat out of bounds at the Cleveland 40-yard line, a punt of just 32 yards. Timeout here in Tampa. Well, despite that promising finish to 2009, Cleveland deciding to completely overhaul their quarterback position. Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, both gone. We mentioned Jake Delhomme signed by Mike Holmgren. They did, of course, draft Colt McCoy in the 3rd round, inactive for today's game, but many people feel like he will be their quarterback of the future. Seneca Wallace acquired in a trade just 3 days after Mike Holmgren was appointed in December, and Jake Delhomme brought in 10 days after the season ended. Joshua Cribbs on the field. The first time we've seen the Wildcat formation, something that has been talked about, Rich, over the entire offseason. Right now, let's go back to New York and an update. And JB.
Spiro and Rich, Wes Walker, are the Patriots back healthy after being injured in the last regular season game on the receiving end of that swing pass from Tom Brady, capping a 2nd and 5 drive from the 9. Patriots on top of Cincinnati, 7-0. Back to Spiro and Rich.
You talk about miraculous recoveries. Wes Welker 3 months earlier than expected coming back from that devastating knee injury. Here in Tampa, clock continues to run, and we come up on 4 minutes remaining. Opening quarter, Tampa and Cleveland still scoreless. DeLone lets her rip inside Tampa territory. Incomplete. Intended for Mohamed Massaquoi, the second-year wideout from Georgia.
Well, that was a scary throw. I don't know that Jake Delhomme really felt the underneath coverage there. Geno Hayes right in position. But the thing when you study Jake, the problems that he had last year, just needs to cut down on the mistakes, really eliminate the poor decisions, which ultimately led to his release in Carolina. 21 turnovers in his last 11 starts.
But Delhomme has never been a high completion percentage guy, below 60% for his career. But so far, he's missed some throws today.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of fires, though. He gives you great experience, toughness, and leadership at that position. Here comes the pressure.
Cribbs lines up at the bottom of your picture on 3rd and 5. Penalty markers fly. Rondé Barber, it looked like, came across a bit early. Markers down at the 40-yard line. We'll see what the officials will say here.
This is really where Rondé Barber is dangerous. When they get these sub packages and he moves inside.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. 5-yard penalty.
Oh, Raheem Morris.
Down.
A little bit hot under the collar after that play. A neutral zone penalty. There is Morris, took over the defensive coordinator and play calling duties middle of the season last year. Relieving Jim Bates of his duties, demoted Bates. It says initially tried to delegate, as most first-year head coaches will, and it just didn't work for him, Rich.
Yeah, and they got back to what they do and what they know, and that's playing this Tampa 2 defense with the personnel that they have. Raheem much more in control. He did a nice job to finish the season.
Cribbs lines up in the backfield. Here is the completion to Peyton Hillis, the backup fullback, but nowhere to go. 6 different Tampa defenders get there as they drop him for a loss of 2.
And Denard Jackson, he's a very active safety. He wants to be up around the line of scrimmage, very nosy, very good in the open field. Just watch him drive on this little screen route out to Peyton Hillis. They have great speed defensively here in Tampa.
Tampa so far has run 7 total plays for a grand total of 26 yards.
And here's where they're better than they were a year ago in terms of the receiving game. They can move these players around. They're all interchangeable in this offense.
3 wide receivers set on 2nd down. Dangerous pass again from Delhomme. It's incomplete. In and out of the hands of the tight end, Evan Moore. Rondé Barber there on the coverage.
And this is twice now where Jake Delhomme has not seen the underneath coverage. And you're going to see right here, look at Rondé Barber. He's going to buzz out right here, and Jake Delhomme is locked in on the receiver. You have to know where Rondé Barber is at all times. The guy has been sensational. Just one of 2 NFL players with 25 sacks and 30 or more interceptions. You have to know where he lines up every single play.
3rd and 12, Delhomme from the shotgun formation, 3 wide receiver formation. Draw play. It's Peyton Hillis right up the gut. Inside Tampa territory, close to the 40 and a 1st down.
Some people throwing their bodies around in there.
Tampa defender is hurt.
The thing you know about Peyton Hillis, he will not back down to anybody.
He is a Mack, Rich, the backup cornerback, slow to get to his feet.
He is a physical runner.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. And by the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet?
Here in Tampa, look at the pirate ship. South end of Raymond James Stadium. Boy, you want an NFL collision, Rich, here it is. Peyton Hillis, the downfield runner, and at the end of that play, Albert Mack, the Bucs cornerback, gets his bell rung.
Yeah, Albert Mack's not going to like this when he watches it in the film tomorrow. It's actually Sean Jones, and it's hard enough to play this game when you're trying to defend yourself from those guys in the Brown jerseys, and yet someone who lights you up is your own teammate, Sean Jones. These safeties, they fly around. They have no regard for their bodies.
Hillis picks up 12 yards, able to move the chains for Cleveland.
Seconds, and start both it and the game clock on my signal.
Jeff Triplett is our lead referee today. A look at Eric Mangini on the Cleveland side.
Thank you.
Well, Mangini, the nerve-wracking few days at the end of 2009, had that meeting with Mike Holmgren. Holmgren taking over as team president in early December of last season. So Delhomme under center inside Tampa territory for the first time today. Delhomme goes play action. His pass high. It's caught. That's Massaquoi strolling into the end zone. 41 yards and a Cleveland touchdown.
All I can say is Jake Delhomme was very fortunate there. Another example of him not feeling that safety. A perfect throw gets it done there, but a little bit of unexpected good fortune. So you go back and look at it. Watch the safety in the middle of the screen. He's right there to make the play. He takes a poor angle. He's lucky that that was a high throw to Mohamed Massaquoi. A great catch. But geez, oh man, you have to see these safeties. You're just asking for trouble throwing the ball like that down the middle of the field.
Well, Delhomme gave a little smirk at the end of that play.
I think he realizes he was very fortunate there.
Phil Dawson on for the point after through the uprights, and Cleveland tacks on the point after and have taken a 7-0 lead. Jake Delhomme, his first ever game as the starter for the Cleveland Browns, finds Massaquoi, boy, threading the needle for a Cleveland 7-0 lead. Timeout. Cleveland scoring drive, 6 plays, 61 yards in just 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Delhomme goes 41 yards through the air to his second-year target, Mohamed Massaquoi. So the Browns taking a 7-0 lead after a couple of early stall drives at the 2:48 mark of quarter number 1. Phil Dawson's kick fielded by Spurlock at the goal line. Spurlock trying to bounce it to the outside, out past the 20-yard line, and forced out of bounds at the 21. Rich, take us back to the touchdown.
Well, you keep an eye on Tenard Jackson at the top of your screen. He's actually going to go back to the middle of the field. They're going to rotate coverage. Perfect. Good idea. But when he's back there at the very top of his drop, you're going to see him start to drive. Now, he takes the wrong angle. He has to have a flatter angle to the safety. You see right here, he almost runs into the corner. And the angle, we talk about proper angles to the football right there. Tenard Jackson will be downgraded tomorrow when they watch the film. You can't let that receiver get over the top.
Boy, Delhomme makes you sweat, even on the throws that he'll hit. So unorthodox, so unconventional in so many ways. But it's given the Browns a 7-0 lead. Here's Freeman back onto the field. Freeman so far 3 for 3 through the air. Throwing on first down, it's incomplete, but penalty markers fly at the 40. Here's Sammy Straughter, the second-year wideout, running the route. And this one appears to be against the Cleveland secondary. Sheldon Brown was there on the
Pass
coverage.
interference, defense, number 24. First down.
Brown acquired in the trade with Philadelphia. Spent 8 years with the Eagles. Brought in by Tom Heckert, who Mike Holmgren hired as his general manager. To rebuild this Cleveland roster.
Sheldon Brown has his hands full with the rookie there. I've been really impressed when you watch the film of Mike Williams. When you talk to this coaching staff here in Tampa, he's come in, he's picked up the system very quickly. He's got great work ethic. They think he's got a very bright future here with the Bucs.
So 1st and 10 after the penalty. Freeman flushed out of the pocket. Pump faking, will keep it himself on the ground. Close to the 45, still on his feet. Inside Cleveland territory, and finally forced out of bounds after a pickup of 33 yards.
And what did Rob Ryan tell us last night? They're concerned about the quarterback getting out of the pocket. Josh Freeman makes a lot of plays with his legs outside that pocket. He throws well on the move. They want to make sure they move him, change his launch spot, but when he pulls it down, this is a big man going down the field. He is 6'5", 240 pounds. It's not an easy tackle for those guys in the secondary.
Well, for a moment, it looked like Freeman's angle was going to take him out of bounds, but he's able to turn the corner, pick up 33 yards, and move the chains for the Bucs. 1st and 10 from the Cleveland 30. Freeman again through the air. Pass play, it is incomplete. Dropped by Mike Williams at the 10-yard line. T.J. Ward, the rookie safety, on the coverage.
That's too bad. He had the coverage that he wanted. A better throw here gets it down. Mike Williams runs a really nice route. Good protection. He just misses the throw low and inside. He gets over top of the safety and in between the corner right there. Joe Hayden, look at that, going after the two rookies, T.J. Ward and Joe Hayden. Not a bad idea. You have to challenge these young players. Find out about them early.
Ward, the second-round pick last April, taken 38th overall. And there is Mike Williams.
Rookie on rookie right down here.
Controversial career at Syracuse. Drafted in the 4th round by Tampa. There is Williams on the reception. Tackle made by Joe Hayden.
I enjoy talking to these young players. We got a chance to visit with both T.J. Ward and Joe Hayden, even Mike Williams. These guys are excited about the opportunity. 4th round pick out of Syracuse. Came up here 10 days after the draft. He was quick to pick up the system. And what did Mike Tomlin tell us? He wished I would have drafted him higher. We were wrong in our evaluation of him. All of the criticism, he's used this to his advantage. His mom keeps on telling him, just keep working, keep going. Things will fall into place for you. He's made a nice start already as a rookie.
Well, for all the controversy behind him at Syracuse, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone within this Tampa organization to say a bad word about Mike Williams. A great start to his Tampa career. Timeout taken by Freeman of the Bucs. Coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, plus a special preview of the U.S. Open men's final between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. It's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. Rich, a big third down here, 3rd and 10. You got a young quarterback. Freeman has played well. What's the mindset here for the Tampa offense?
Well, you always have to be protection conscious with Rob Ryan standing over there. He likes to challenge these quarterbacks early, but I want to make sure the young quarterback is aware of the situation. 3rd and 11, not an easy down. If it's not there, let's check it down. We can't afford a sack in this situation.
Freeman, 9 starts as a rookie last season. Freeman's pass is batted down, incomplete. It was Joe Hayden, the rookie cornerback, getting a hand on it. Michael Spurlock, the intended target, and Tampa will bring on the field goal unit.
Well, we know that Joe Hayden's got some long arms. We saw them last night in the production meeting, and he's an aggressive player. He likes to take chances. He's very physical, and he seems like he's getting more and more comfortable each week with this system. Got better each day of training camp when we talked to Eric Mangini.
Connor Barth, 3rd-year kicker from North Carolina, 24 years of age, 2nd season with the Bucs.
Got a new holder as well this week. Spiro brought in Chris Bryan.
This one from 49 yards out. Barth has the distance, and it is good. Well, that's what you want from your young quarterback. Don't make the mistake on 3rd down. Give your kicker a chance. And finally, Tampa is on the board as they cut the deficit to 4 points. Well, Thursdays this fall, William Shatner is an outspoken father who tells it like he sees it in the new comedy Bleep My Dad Says. Premieres Thursday, September the 23rd, after the Big Bang Theory. It's only on CBS.
You know, it's interesting, Spiro. Both teams dealing with the heat differently here. The heat and humidity was staggering on the practice field this week in Tampa. So on Thursday, they actually went over to St. Pete, the Trop, where the Devil Rays play, and worked out inside. Cleveland had issues as well. It was unseasonably cool up in Cleveland, so they actually went inside their practice facility, closed the doors, turned the heat up to try and assimilate the temperatures down here, but the humidity, there's nothing you can do about that. This is going to be a very difficult day for everyone on the field.
You know, it's funny, most people that come in here and watch these games, and you've played here, you know how hot it is early in the season, they assume that it's always a home field advantage for Tampa, but they have to deal with it all week long in practice.
And I think it's a big story. I talked to John Gruden on Thursday about it, and he said, you know, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, he'd go into the training room, and he'd have 12 players, and they're getting IV bags. It takes its toll on you during the season.
Joshua Cribbs fielding from his own 3-yard line. Cribbs so dangerous. Excellent coverage on the kickoff by Tampa as Cribbs can't get back to the 20. That's Cody Grimm, the rookie backup safety, making the tackle. Grimm, the son of Hall of Fame offensive lineman Russ Grimm, as we take a look at the heat index. Real field temperature down on the field, 105 degrees.
You start hydrating for a game like this on Monday and Tuesday. You start pumping the Gatorade and the fluids, but boy, you see the players on the sidelines, the trainers. Very common for players to get IVs before the game and even at halftime so that they don't cramp up out there.
They need an IV in the booth here by halftime.
It is
got
hot.
the windows open, the humidity affecting everyone here inside Raymond James Stadium. Here's Jake DeLone back under center.
Big backs to end the game. Vickers and Hillis. They want to run the football downhill.
Hillis has been the featured running back so far. We've seen more of him than Jerome Harrison. A little bit of a different approach today by Eric Mangini, and his offense picks up 4 yards on first down.
Well, if they get on the plane and head back to Cleveland and they don't challenge this Tampa defense in the running game, they made a huge mistake. Tampa was dead last a year ago in terms of their run defense. I get the sense we're going to see a number of different backs in there. Of course, you'll see Jerome Harrison. They really like Peyton Hillis. They have to find a way to get Joshua Cribbs some touches as well.
Harrison so far has not carried the football in this game. Peyton Hillis acquired in the Brady Quinn trade, as Harrison will come back onto the field to start quarter number 2. 15 minutes complete here in Tampa. A Jake DeLone 41-yard strike to Massaquoi is the difference. Well, Bucs fans braving the very high temperatures here in Tampa today. Catching a glimpse of the field as we begin the second quarter from Raymond James Stadium. Cleveland with possession and a 7-3 lead over the Bucs. Spiro Ditas, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew with you. Second down play, Jake DeLone keeping it on the ground. Jerome Harrison finally his first rush of the day. Harrison, that remarkable finish we talked about earlier. Over the final 3 games last season, 286 yards in week 15 alone. Rich, against Kansas City.
Yeah, he really had a fantastic finish to the season last year. Big reason why they won 4 in a row. You know, as I look at this Tampa defense, I'm keeping my eyes on those guys down in the pits there. With Brian Price getting some work inside, Gerald McCoy, they're doing a nice job in the run fits.
3rd and 6 for Cleveland. They spot it at their own 24-yard line. A long quick release to the sideline. It is incomplete. Well, they say caught it. He did make the catch. That's Chancey Stuckey, 4th-year man from Clemson, making the first down reception, picks up 6 yards.
This is a very good throw. You're going to see right here, E.J. Biggers just driving on this ball. It's the only place he can throw it to Stuckey on the boundary there. Talk about location. Look at that. Good coverage. Corner's trying to drive on that one. Jake makes a good decision there using that boundary.
Cleveland, a slow start offensively, now starting to look comfortable. DeLone rolling out, completes to Watson, the tight end. Picks up minimal yardage on first down, 2 yards, and forced out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
Well, number one priority this offseason was overhauling the passing game. I mean, we mentioned the fact that they started over at quarterback, and they were a one-dimensional football team late in the year as they ran the football. But I think Jake DeLone, he gives them a lot of juice at the quarterback spot. He knows this system. He's a quick learn. Players really respond around. You see him taking control out there. They're running the no huddle. I think they're going to be a much more multiple offense and a lot more fun to watch this season.
2nd and 8, they fake the draw play, complete to Stuckey again. Boy, DeLone spreading the wealth in this first half, first down and more. As Stuckey is brought down just inside the 45-yard line by Kyle Moore, the defensive end.
It doesn't always have to be perfect. You're going to see Jake there. He just tries to get the grip, kick it out there. It's behind Stuckey, but he makes a nice play, makes a defender miss in the open field, and that's the key as a quarterback. You just want to get the ball into the hands of these players and let them go to work.
Well, coming into the season, a huge question mark was about this Cleveland wide receiving core. Among the least productive bunch in the NFL at that position. Harrison, not much room to work with. Right back to the line of scrimmage. Did pick up a couple of yards to the 45-yard line. Barrett Ruud making the tackle.
Spiro, you're talking about the receivers. Very young and inexperienced group. Long on potential, short on production. I think Jake DeLone is really going to help that group. We talked with Brian Dable He said that Jake is in the meeting room. He's talking to the receivers. He's telling them what he expects. He's out there on the practice field. Great interaction between the quarterback and receiver. Now we get another chance to see our guy Josh Cribbs. You got to get this guy some touches early in this game.
Cribbs from the Wildcat formation, fakes the run, goes past, finds Seneca Wallace, the backup quarterback.
How about that, huh?
It's the little flash and cyclone package that they're calling in Cleveland. 10 yards to Wallace. Well, we take a look at what Cribbs does out of this formation.
Well, he gives you so much flexibility, his ability to run the ball. He was a quarterback at Kent State. He can throw it. He makes a lot of plays. They really picked things up late in the year when this guy got more involved in the offense. I think the philosophy has to be similar to what they do in Tennessee with Chris Johnson. You have to hand it to him, you have to toss it to him, and you have to throw it to him. This guy has to be a big part of this offense.
Gives Delhomme a chance to catch his breath. Delhomme back into the game, fires, completes to Brian Robisky. And Robisky picks up good first down yardage inside Bucs territory down to the 40-yard line.
And Spiro, you were mentioning the different packages they have of the Wildcat. They have several of them. Wildcat, they have another package they refer to as Flash, Cyclone. And they give you so much flexibility now with Jake, with Joshua Cribbs, as well as Seneca Wallace. This is a lot to prepare for. We watched the Bucs have a 30-minute walkthrough on Friday trying to defend this package. It makes this defense do extra work in preparation.
4 wide receivers for Cleveland on second down. Delhomme feeling pressure. His pass will sail incomplete. Massaquoi the intended target. And Tenard Jackson applying the pressure.
Well, you're going to go back and just keep an eye on Tenard Jackson. He's going to come right up the middle of the screen here. Does nice job by the fullback. Jerome Harrison, not the biggest guy at 5'9", but he's willing to stick his head in there. Does a nice job keeping Tenard Jackson off of Jake Delhomme.
Delhomme throwing his towel back to midfield at the 50. Here on third down from the Bucs 40-yard line. Delhomme deep down the field. It's incomplete. Boy, Massaquoi had a step. But the pass from Delhomme underthrown in the end zone. Jackson on the coverage.
You know, it's amazing. They're playing a lot of combination coverages on Massaquoi. You're going to see him right here. Look at the corner. He's trailing. He's got help over top with the safety. This should never happen. Tenard Jackson, with help underneath, can never let a receiver run by him. Looks like they're going after Tenard Jackson, a guy that is very good in terms of playing the run, struggles a little bit with the coverage schemes.
Hodges punts. Trying to pin this one down inside the 5, unable to get to it. Sails into the end zone as the Bucs will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. 40-yard punt from Hodges as we continue first half in Tampa. Cleveland 7 and the Bucs 3. Well, it's the opening Sunday of the NFL season here at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Early second quarter, you see the ball control time of possession evening out after a one-sided start earlier in the game favoring Tampa. As now Josh Freeman, the second-year quarterback, first full season at the helm of this Tampa offense. 1st and 10 from the 20. Freeman on the give to Ernest Graham. Graham converted to the fullback position 2 years ago, Rich. They've always thought he's been more effective at the running back, but out of necessity, they've had to move him.
Well, these are the kind of plays you don't want to put on tape. You're one short up the top. They're going to bring pressure. You have no one to block the edge. And Josh Freeman decides to run the ball anyway. You got an overload over there. Very difficult to do that. And that's the benefit of having a veteran quarterback who's able to get you in and out of plays, get you into the best looks based on the front and the coverage.
Second-year man Kareem Huggins spent most of last season on the Tampa practice squad. Lines up for the first time today. Pass from Freeman. Salesboy nearly intercepted. Dangerous throw by Freeman. And Rich, I was just going to ask you how you thought Freeman was doing today. Had really avoided making those kinds of mistakes. And boy, he dodges a bullet there.
Well, I just think that as you go back and look, one of the big problems with both of these organizations has been the turnover at the quarterback position. You see most different starting quarterbacks since week. The Browns, actually, if you go back and study them a little bit, they've had 14 different starting quarterbacks since 1999. if you don't have continuity, consistency, and production at that position, it's hard to win. But I don't think there's any question as you look at Josh Freeman. He's got a wealth of potential. He benefited from playing last year. I think he's going to be an outstanding player.
Freeman playing with that fractured tip on his throwing thumb. Completes here at the 20-yard line to Winslow. Winslow takes a hard hit. He's about 10 yards short of the first down, and Tampa will punt. They hear the boos for the first time from the hometown fans.
Well, he talked about featuring the tight end, and Kellen Winslow has been pretty quiet today, just catching 2 checkdowns. He was their leading receiver a year ago, and you know the Browns were very concerned about him and the matchup with their safety, their rookie safety, T.J. Ward.
Chris Bryant spent training camp with the Green Bay Packers, said he expected to make the team, was surprised at the release, and was on his way back home to Australia when the Bucs called. Punt here fielded by Cribbs at his own 23-yard line. Cribbs out past the 30 to the 35-yard line, and brought down by a host of tacklers after a return of 15 yards. 57-yard punt from Bryant as we continue second quarter in Tampa. Cleveland a 7-3 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. FedEx, we understand you need a winning game plan. FedEx. And by Denny's 2468 value menu. Try 16 different value meals all day, every day.
Oh, fans, is your fantasy football site letting you down? There's still plenty of time to upgrade to the award-winning Fantasy Football Commissioner. Get a special offer and help moving your league at cbssports.com/upgrade. Spiro Ditas, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew with you from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Temperatures in the triple digits at opening kickoff. You see what the teams have done through the air so far. It's been the Jake Delhomme show. 41-yard touchdown strike to Mohamed Massaquoi earlier in the half has been the difference. Peyton Hillis continues to be the featured running back. Fumbles the football at the 40. A pylon ensues at the 42. And we'll see who's come up with it. Still no signal yet.
Well, you look at the Browns last year, a big problem. Their plus-minus or turnover ratio did not do a good job taking care of the football. They were -12. And that's not something you expect from an Eric Mangini coach team. They didn't take it away on defense. They didn't do a good enough job taking care of the football on offense. You see Peyton Hillis right here doing a nice job. Now, nice hit in the hole by Tenard Jackson. And actually, the guy that comes in there and gets a hand on it looks like is Tim Crowder.
Robert Royal, the backup tight end, was the man who recovered the football for Cleveland.
But Tenard Jackson will hit you in the hole. It's a very physical safety.
2nd and 6 for the Browns. Hillis again. Mangini going right back to his running back after the fumble. Ryan Price, 2nd-round pick out of UCLA, makes the tackle after Hillis picks up 2 yards.
I really like these young players inside for the Buccaneers. We talked about Price and, of course, Gerald McCoy, the 3 technique, the under tackle. You're going to see a lot of these 2 players. They're really hoping that McCoy can be the next Warren Sapp, that under tackle. And, of course, Price, the 2nd-round pick out of UCLA. He's an explosive player. I think he can be an outstanding pass rusher.
Well, McCoy said he grew up idolizing Sapp, and at the age of 14 snuck out of church service on a Sunday night to watch Tampa win the Super Bowl. As you see Joshua Cribbs on 3rd down, able to move the chains. Seneca Wallace on the field, joining Cribbs in that little wrinkle of the Wildcat offense that they call the Flash and Cyclone package.
There's Brian Daboll, and looks like a different man this year. We talked to him at the production meeting on Saturday. He lost 72 pounds. So yeah, I wasn't happy with how I felt at the end of the season. He's worked hard, but he is excited. He's rejuvenated, as is the rest of the staff. They've added some great players offensively, and he feels like they're so much further along, and they really are excited about what Jake Delhomme brings to this football team.
So 1st and 10 for Cleveland. Delhomme hands off to Harrison. Harrison bounces outside, inside Tampa territory, still going. 15 down to the 10. And Harrison, after a very quiet first half, picks up 39 yards. And Cleveland with a big first down.
Well, he's not very big, but he is quick. He is tough, and he's very decisive. Look, one cut, right back up inside, and now he gets out on the perimeter. He's got tremendous speed in the open field. There's not a lot of indecision when he gets the ball in his hands. He's usually heading straight downhill.
It's the first time in Harrison's 5-year career that he has started a season as the #1 running back in the NFL. DeLome trying to sort through some confusion here. 5:49 remaining, first half. Cleveland trying to build on a 7-3 lead, and DeLome will take a timeout. Well, a good start for Eric Mangini's Browns, trying to build on this 4-point lead. First. Well, here in Tampa, the Browns beating this oppressive Heat and also beating Tampa early on. 7-3, and DeLome has the Browns offense driving for more with 5:42 left to play in this first half.
I've been really impressed with the Browns' tempo. They're getting in and out of the huddle. Ryan Dable's done a nice job with his substitutions, mixing things up, giving this defense a lot to look at.
DeLome on the give to Hillis again. Hillis out past the 5, into the end zone, touchdown. Hillis from 10 yards out, and Cleveland builds on its lead. It's 13-3.
But nothing fancy here. Just keep an eye on the left guard, Eric Steinbach, and the fullback. Just a bounce play to the left. Eric Steinbach, a very athletic guard that can get out in space. Look, he winds up blocking 2 people, and Peyton Hillis does the rest. They are a team that is committed to running the football.
Well, so far, Harrison has been the decoy. With all the talk about his finish to 2009, it has been Peyton Hillis the workhorse. Bill Dawson boots the point after perfectly through the uprights, and Cleveland rolling in Tampa have a 14-3 lead. Well, Peyton Hillis lost in the mix in Denver a year ago. Boy, he has found a new home with the Cleveland Browns.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bank of America and by the Miller Lite aluminum pint for more ounces of that great Pilsner taste.
Well, Cleveland, a brief scoring drive, 5 plays, 63 yards in just 3 minutes and 9 seconds. See Jerome Harrison contributing after Peyton Hillis able to punch it in from 10 yards out. And that's where we stand, 14-3 Browns with 5 and change left to play in this first half. Michael Spurlock fielding from his own end zone. Spurlock out past the 30-yard line. Penalty marker is thrown. Spurlock forced out of bounds by the kicker Dawson. Inside Cleveland territory, 55-yard return, but this one may be coming back.
It's going to be a hold.
There is Jeff Triplett, our lead referee. Oh, that hurts for Tampa, trying to get anything going here before halftime.
Return, illegal walking up back. Return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, I gave you my pep talk before halftime. Go back and look. Right there, I don't know if it calls out on Kudavides and Matt Roth.
There's Peyton Hillis on the Cleveland sideline. Hillis, a very frustrating year last season under Josh McDaniels in Denver. Such a mystery as to why he was not playing after such a sparkling rookie season with the Broncos. Good start for him today as Tampa takes it back, and this is a huge early possession in their season, trying to get something going here, Rich, before halftime.
Yeah, they really struggled. Just 68 yards of offense here in the first half, and they looked out of sync. I think the important thing is they get some momentum as they head in here to halftime. I want to find a way to get my young quarterback off to a better start. And again, the way you do that is really focus in on some concepts in the passing game where he has a history, where he's comfortable with, some short intermediate throws, high percentage throws to get him comfortable.
Freeman goes play action on 2nd and long.
Oh, you got him.
Deep pass down the field, incomplete. Boy, hit Williams right in the breadbasket. Sheldon Brown, the late recovery to bat it away.
Really nice throw here by Josh Freeman. And the one thing that Mike Williams is going to learn when he watches the film, right at the end, great job with the play action. The safety bites on the crossing route. Now, right here at the end, you can't relax. You got to change lanes. Cut off Sheldon Brown as he's trying to catch up from behind. But nice job by Josh Freeman sliding to his left, throwing this ball on top of the safety. Boy, you have to go up at its highest point. Sheldon Brown, a veteran cagey corner, does a nice job recovering.
Bucs 2 for 6 on third downs today, 3rd and 8. Freeman feeling pressure, didn't see the guy coming from the blind side. He's brought down. Marcus Bernard brings him down. And Tampa once again will have to punt.
Well, you don't get many opportunities. They had a great opportunity to play before to Mike Williams. You have to find a way to hit them. You come right back, and now you give up a sack.
Markers thrown in the defensive secondary. Well, pocket awareness, something that Freeman will certainly get better at. Never saw Bernard coming from the back. You can't teach to have eyes in the back of your head, certainly. And so Freeman waits to figure out what the call is here.
There are 2 fouls on the play. 2 men defense.
That's one way to stop them.
Delay of game. Number 5 offense. Threw the ball away after the play in bounds. Both those penalties will offset. Repeat, 3rd down.
So that works out for Tampa. Rick Mangini feels like they get the short end of the stick. They'll redo 3rd down. They'll put it at the original spot. It'll be 3rd and 8 from the Tampa 22-yard line.
Well, as you study this defense, they give you some unorthodox looks defensively. This is a high tendency right here in this down and distance, 3rd and long, for pressure from Rob Ryan.
See what Tampa's offensive coordinator draws up here. Greg Olson as Rob Ryan, Browns defensive coordinator, on the sideline.
Well, you're going to see coverage here, 2 deep coverage.
4 wide receivers for Freeman on 3rd down and 8.
4-man rush.
Freeman feels the pocket collapse, flings it over the middle. It's caught. Out past the 35, a 1st down reception. Michael Spurlock on the 16-yard hookup.
Really nice job by Josh Freeman. He's been under duress a little bit. You'll see him right here at the top of his drop. Watch the pressure up top. Now watch him step up inside, slide, throw back across his body. I mean, for a bigger quarterback, he's very athletic.
Well, it's a veteran throw by the 2nd-year quarterback, Josh Freeman. Much needed 1st down for the Bucs.
You see him changing the play there at the line of scrimmage.
Tampa just their 5th 1st down of the day. Cadillac Williams picks up 4 out past the 40-yard line up to the 42 as we come up on 3 minutes to play before halftime.
Just the one thing that's missing as you watch this offense is the big play. They haven't been able to generate the big play down the field. And I'm a little surprised they haven't done a better job getting Kellen Winslow involved. I mean, he's had some good looks, some one-on-one shots. You got a young safety back there in T.J. Ward that's matched up on him a lot in this football game. Got 2 tight ends set up top here.
It's an offense, Rich, still trying to find their playmakers. You mentioned Winslow, a couple of surprise cuts at the end of training camp as Williams able to bounce it outside, picks up only a yard. Derek Ward, who was their free agent acquisition last season, cut part of the last cut down the Saturday before the season a week ago. And Michael Clayton, who signed that big contract last season, also released by Tampa.
It's been a lot of change. The fact, as you look at this organization, I think too much change too soon. Think about last year, they get rid of the general manager, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the quarterback. They changed coordinators before and during the season. There's a lot to overcome, but I really feel like they're much further along this year in year 2 of the system.
Jeff Jagosinski was their offensive coordinator, we mentioned earlier, fired 10 days before opening day last season.
Tampa Bay.
Well, they just look out of sorts.
30-second timeout.
There's some frustration out there. You see Cadillac Williams.
Well, a reminder coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. You can join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. plus a special preview of the U.S. Open men's final between Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic. It's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report.
Well, you think about a win, what it would do to start the season for both of these clubs. And the Browns haven't won a season opener since 2004. The Bucs since 2005. And both got off to rocky starts last year. The Browns 1-11, the Bucs 1-12. And I really believe, Spiro, that these teams need to learn how to win. That's not something that happens overnight. You have to learn how to play smart, take care of the football, make good decisions, protect the lead, learn how to finish a team off late. And I think both of these teams need to learn how to do that.
The schedule for both of these teams gets considerably more difficult in the coming weeks, and that places an even bigger premium on getting the win here today. Josh Freeman on third down, completes to Winslow, the tight end. Winslow, nice cutback inside the Cleveland 40. And his first big contribution today. Winslow 23 yards through the air. Will take an extra beat to get to his feet as we reach the 2-minute warning. Well, Jake Delhomme's Cleveland offense looking good. A 14-3 lead, but Tampa now not. Well, Tampa down 14-3 as we hit the 2-minute warning. First half in Tampa. Well, Cleveland, Tampa rather, passing yardage coming into this drive just 15.
Here comes the
had
pressure.
38 so far on this drive alone.
Nice job by Josh changing the play up. Ball should come out quick right now.
Freeman a bit low.
He had him.
Incomplete, way out in front of the intended receiver, Sammy Stroughter.
That is major progress for the Buccaneers. Now, you look at it and you say, oh, wow, what are you talking about, an incompletion? Great job by Josh Freeman, first of all, recognizing the pressure, changing the protection at the line of scrimmage, and dialing up a shot downfield. You really had the one-on-one matchup you were looking for with Sammy Stroughter. Now all you got to do is finish it off. Just find a way to give him a catchable ball.
Stroughter, the second-year man from Oregon State, former 7th-round pick. 2nd and 10 for Freeman. Ball spotted just inside the 35-yard line. There's Cadillac Williams, penalty marker thrown back by the line of scrimmage. Williams barreling down to the 15-yard line. Will be a first down, depending on the penalty.
Number
It's coming
82 of
back.
the offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Boys, we watched it up here in the booth. I thought someone broke contain. Someone did not do a good job on the end. And now you understand why McKellen Winslow gets called for the hold.
Raheem Morris brought into the NFL
Well,
by his mentor Herman Edwards.
that's a bad penalty right in that situation. You're on the fringe there. Now you got yourself in a situation, 2nd and 20. If I'm the play caller, as I look at my sheet, I don't have a lot of plays for 2nd and 20. Got to be smart here. Try and get half of it back. Give yourself a chance on 3rd down. You look at Greg Olsen there. He's done a really good job in some difficult situations the last 24 months.
It's a process certainly for a young Tampa offense. Olsen finally having a full off season to install his playbook. When Freeman takes a shot as he throws, it's intercepted. Picked off at the 20 by Mike Adams. So Tampa threatening to score for the first time since the first quarter. But Adams with the pick. And boy, was Freeman walloped as he threw that pass.
And you remember on Friday at practice, I said I didn't see him drive the ball. He has to drive the ball here. This one sails on him a little bit. You have to wonder not whether that right thumb is bothering him. That ball has to be driven in the hole. See, it sails on him a little bit there. He's not able to kind of follow through. You're always worried when you have an injury on your throwing hand about that follow through. The last thing you want to do is hit it on another player's helmet.
You know, Rich, you talked about the rookie secondary players for Cleveland. They played well. T.J. Ward that time, the guy who hit Freeman. And Joe Hayden playing well earlier in this first half. It's been a nice opening 2 quarters so far for Eric Mangini's Browns. Delhomme's pass complete on 1st down to Watson, the tight end. There's so much talk about Mike Holmgren, hired as the team president of Cleveland last December, right in the midst of that season-ending 4-game winning streak. Holmgren, of course, the Super Bowl winning head coach of the Green Bay Packers. And taking Seattle to Super Bowl 40, losing to Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But boy, what a start here to 2010.
Oh, what a tremendous resource to have in the building if you're Eric Mangini or even Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator. You know, Mike, so instrumental in turning things around in Green Bay and in Seattle. When we talked with Brian yesterday and even Eric, they said it's been so refreshing to have Mike around. He's been a tremendous resource. He's been very helpful, and I think he's a tremendous evaluator of talent, particularly at the quarterback position. He knows how to coach up this guy, and he knows how to find him.
Holmgren bringing that West Coast offense to Cleveland. Trying to spice some things up. The Cleveland offense that has been dormant.
Jake does a great job with his use of cadence there at the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 6, just inside Bucs territory at the 49-yard line. DeLome caught. It's Watson again inside the 40. A Cleveland first down, and boy, what damage this would do to Tampa if the Browns are able to score again. 50 seconds left.
You think about that turnover, and Jake DeLome is a guy that's very savvy in these situations. I talked about experience and how important that is. He's orchestrated a lot of 2-minute drills. This ball's got to come out.
Boy, DeLome's pass intercepted. Rondé Barber inside the 30. Barber finally forced down. Just short of the goal line, 66-yard return, and that has breathed new life into the Bucs.
And that's the thing that has really hurt him. I talked about cutting down on the mistakes, eliminating the poor decisions. You have a great opportunity. You're on the plus side of the field. You're under duress. Throw the football away here. You can't make this throw to a guy like Rondé Barber. 167 straight regular season games. The guy is always around the ball. Very savvy player. This one has to be thrown away. He never felt Rondé Barber. Boy, you talk about a momentum swing. The Buccaneers have been struggling on offense the whole first half. Just 110 yards of offense. Now you give them the ball on the 3-yard line.
Oh, for Jake DeLome, old habits die hard.
Sudden change in momentum. Important for this defense to get out and rally. Try and hold them to 3 down here. 26 seconds.
One timeout left. Freeman from the shotgun. They spot it down at the 3-yard line. Freeman squeezes it to the end zone. It's tipped up, caught, touchdown.
Boy,
and welcome to the NFL, Mike Williams. And Syracuse turned a lot of teams away. What a steal he figures to be in the 4th round.
And in talking to Raheem Morris on Friday, they did their research and spent a lot of time with Mike Williams, and they felt really comfortable. And as I mentioned earlier, I was surprised when Raheem said, I wish we would have drafted him earlier. He's been absolutely outstanding, and he said that we were wrong in our evaluation. He is much better than we anticipated. And the thing that's been impressive, Spiro, is the fact that he's come in here and he's picked up this very complicated system so quickly. And that's a big reason why he's starting right now ahead of Aurelius Ben.
Well, the only 2 wide receivers that Tampa had ahead of him on their draft board.
Always worry about how you're going to hold up as a quarterback playing 65 or 70 plays down here in the heat. You think about the big guys, but the quarterbacks as well. You have to get your body acclimated to these type of conditions.
Oh, Mangini here's going to try a 62-yard field goal with Phil Dawson, the 2-time All-Pro and the longest tenured Brown. Has been with Cleveland since 1999. You see what he did last season, 17 of 19.
Spiro, I saw him make, I believe, a 59-yarder in the preseason in Green Bay. I think he's got enough leg. I really do. This guy can really thump the ball.
Dawson from 62 yards out. Hodges, the holder. It has the distance, and it's no good.
Plenty of leg, though.
Dawson's career-high 56 yards. That would have shattered that mark. So Jake Delhomme limping to the sideline. Cleveland in a far different scenario than they were in about 5 minutes ago. Had a 14-3 lead, but a late bad pick by Jake Delhomme, something we've certainly seen before. Getting Tampa back into the game. That's the end of the first half with Cleveland 14 and the Bucs 10. After this, we'll send it to New York and James Brown. Here in Tampa, some opening day fireworks late in that first half. You see the rain coming down here. That should be a factor as we get set for the second half. Cleveland holding a 14-10 lead here as we welcome you back to Raymond James Stadium. Boy, it looked like Cleveland was out of the woods. Not quite yet. DeLome throws that late pick.
Yeah, unfortunately, he never really felt Rondé Barber. And when the Bucs need a big play, Spiro, Rondé Barber usually comes through in the clutch. But just a poor decision by Jake there. It's what really hurt him last year in Carolina.
Rich, we'll take a look at our All-State points of protection.
Yeah, I thought Cleveland did a really nice job. They ran the football. They mixed it up. I thought that he did a really good job, Jake, throwing the ball around. Again, a costly interception there before the half. And Josh Freeman, he struggled a little bit. Tough, difficult time finding his rhythm. And, of course, they did a nice job defensively containing Joshua Cribbs, not just in terms of the offense, but in the return game. A lot of teams choose not to kick the ball to Joshua Cribbs.
Now, Rich, we mentioned the rain. Gripping the football in the first half was difficult enough for Josh Freeman playing with that fractured tip on his throwing thumb. Could be even more difficult now with this moisture.
Well, no quarterback likes to see the rain and certainly the wet balls, but particularly not a guy like Josh Freeman, as you mentioned, is very difficult with that grip.
Cleveland to return here to start the third quarter. Joshua Cribbs just 51 all-purpose yards in the first half, held in check. Nice special teams play for Tampa to start the third quarter. A return of just 12 yards from Cribbs.
Well, neither offense really explosive, but the one thing, look at the rushing yards there. Cleveland has been much better in terms of their efficiency running the ball on the early downs. Total yards more one-sided in terms of Cleveland. They've taken advantage of opportunities and more big plays of 10 yards or more. Tampa Bay has to find a way to get this offense jump-started here in the second half.
It looked like DeLome was limping there at the end of the first half, favoring his right foot, but does start the second half and gives to Jerome Harrison, his running back, on first down, a pickup of 6 yards.
I think if you're Cleveland, you got to keep continuing to try and run the football against this defense. And as I mentioned last year, they were really awful in terms of their run defense. They go out and address that with Gerald McCoy and Brian Price, the two big tackles we've seen inside. But you have a number of different ways to feature the run. I think you have to use all of them. Peyton Hillis, Jerome Harrison, and again, you have to find a way to get Joshua Cribbs some touches.
Hillis and Lawrence Vickers line up in the offset eye to the right. Here is Hillis. Workman-like first half. And Genie splitting the carries between he and Harrison so far today. Loses a yard there, does Hillis. As Tampa gets that nice push from their defensive front. Here is what Cleveland did offensively in the first half.
A little inconsistent. You see the punt, touchdown, and back and forth. And not happy, certainly, with that interception before halftime. And again, a veteran quarterback, Jake DeLome, you have to shake that off, keep moving. You know, Spiro, I've been watching him a little bit. He's not moving particularly well away from center right now. I don't know if that foot is bothering him.
Keep an eye on DeLome as this day goes on. You saw Brian Dable, 34-year-old offensive coordinator, calling the plays for Cleveland. DeLome completes at the 30-yard line, breaks a tackle. It's Evan Moore, the tight end, bowling his way inside Bucs territory and finally brought down inside the 30. 45 yards from Jake DeLome.
You know, as I studied the tape this preseason, Evan Moore is a guy that really jumped out at me. They use him in a lot of different ways. He was a receiver coming out of college at Stanford. He catches the ball really well. He's really good with it in his hands after the catch. He spent time as a rookie in training camp with Green Bay, was here last year in Cleveland. Now he's in the second year. I thought he had an outstanding preseason.
And with that pass play, Jake DeLome goes over 20,000 career passing yards. More importantly, as Cleveland offensively back in gear, penalty marker thrown behind the play. Referee almost took an eye out there with that throw.
10-yard penalty, first down.
Jeff Triplett, our lead referee.
When you think about this offensive line in Cleveland, I mean, they have a formidable wall on the left side with Joe Thomas and Eric Steinbach, and of course the center Alec Mack, I think, is outstanding. It's the right side of the line that they need to hold up their end of the bargain. You know, we get a chance to see Womack in there, and of course John St. Clair has the ability to play guard and tackle. If that right side can hold up, this could be a very explosive offense in Cleveland.
Again, DeLome playing with a noticeable limp, had that fractured finger late last season with Carolina. DeLome's pass is tipped up, it's caught by Moore.
There's my guy.
Boy, Moore listed as the third string tight end, but boy, he's had a big day, and Moore shaken up. Picks up 16 yards and is just short of that first down marker.
He's a tremendous route runner. I think he creates some mismatches in the secondary. You see him lined up here, matched up with Geno Hayes. Geno really struggling there. It's so much easier when you catch it the first time. I always tell these tight ends that. But Jake Delhomme has been very accurate throwing the ball, and he loves getting the tight end involved. Watch this hit. Oh! John Jones, a former Brown, laying some wood. The young Evan Moore.
Evan Moore, the self-proclaimed perfectionist, a two-sport athlete at Stanford, also played power forward of the Stanford basketball team. Here's Hillis. Boy, he is a downhill runner. Tough to bring down today. Finally stopped at the 15-yard line after he gained 7 yards.
You know, they have an outstanding fullback here in Cleveland and Lawrence Vickers. I think he does a really good job. Think about their production in the running game, and that doesn't happen unless you have an outstanding fullback, and they have one in Lawrence Vickers. He's like another guard back there. Although he runs a lot better, but he's more than willing to blow somebody up in the hole.
Well, Vickers considered by many to be the best fullback in the NFL. Felt as though he should have been selected to the Pro Bowl last season. Snubbed in his 4th NFL year. Here's Hillis, fumbles again, second time today. Last one recovered by Cleveland, and this time it's Tampa Bay falling on it. Boy, Cleveland just killing themselves with turnovers. DeLong's pick late in the first half, and Hillis puts it on the turf here, early third quarter. Quincy Black, the linebacker, making the recovery, and Josh Freeman with another chance when we come back. Well, Peyton Hillis has tantalized today. He's looked so good at times, but has fumbled twice. His last one recovered by Quincy Black in Tampa, as Freeman and the Bucs offense taking over from inside their own 15-yard line. Carnell Cadillac Williams on the take, picks up 5 yards on first down.
You know, you think about Hillis, Spiro, turning the ball over in the red zone is obviously devastating. But now this calls the question whether or not Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator, do you trust this guy? Are you willing to give him carries now the rest of the game? Or do you go with Jerome Harrison and Josh Cribbs? Do you keep feeding the guy who's already put it on the ground twice?
Mentioned Hillis had that breakout rookie season 2 years ago in Denver under Mike Shanahan. Last season buried on Josh McDaniel's bench. Well, Williams a second little boost, taking on tacklers at the 20, very close to the original line of scrimmage. They give him a yard or two here. It'll be third down coming up. Here's what the Bucs have done offensively.
Well, what bothers me here is certainly the punts, the turnovers, but the 3 and outs. And I think that can be devastating to an offense. We see a couple of them on there, and you can't do that. When you get opportunities, you got to put some drives together. What I want to do is I want some 10, 12 play drives. I want to wear out this defense so I can get after them in the fourth quarter.
The range starting to come down a bit harder. Third down from the 20. Freeman from the shotgun, sidearm delivery in and out of the hands of the defensive back, Eric Wright. Now, boy, that's a pick 6.
And that's scary. You see some indecision there between the quarterback and the rookie receiver there, Mike Williams, and see Josh talking to him. This is scary. When balls come out like this, he throws it a little bit sidearm. I hate, in this part of the field, I hate to see those guys in the brown jerseys get their hands on the ball. You have to be smart. Throw it away. Punting here is not the end of the world.
Australian native Chris Bryant, making his NFL debut today, gets a spiraling kickoff. Cribbs backpedaling fields from his own 31. Well, they have done a nice job converging on Josh Cribbs today. He's had very little room to maneuver. An 8-yard return, a 48-yard punt from Bryant, and Cleveland takes over when we return to Tampa right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. KFC. Football fans, today is the day you double down. So good. And by Bing. Stop searching, start deciding with Bing, the decision engine from Microsoft.
We'll find out why TV Guide calls Hawaii Five-0 fall's hottest new show and the coolest remake ever. Catch the Wave, Monday, September the 20th, only on CBS. And I think we are all looking forward to Hawaii Five-0 coming up later this month right here on CBS.
Welcome, Dano.
Yes, sir.
The guy Steve McGarrett. Loved that show when I was a kid.
Boy, who didn't love Hawaii 5-0 growing up? Speaking of the waves and moisture, the rain coming down here in Tampa a bit harder.
Ball security, very important. Got to take care, make sure you have two hands on the ball, particularly at the end of these runs.
Jerome Harrison trying to get back to the 40-yard line on the take from Delhomme. Delhomme, if you've just joined us, making his first appearance with his new team, the Cleveland Browns. Good start with that late interception right before the first half expired, giving Tampa new life.
You know, he's very familiar with this defense from his years in Carolina in this division, the NFC South. 9-2 all-time as a starter versus the Bucs. Great familiarity with this Tampa 2.
Long's pass is caught right at the sideline. Brian Robisky, and they say incomplete. Robisky unable to get his second foot in play.
There you see him limping again. This can really affect, look at that ball sail a little bit. And if you're just a little bit late on the boundary, you talk about timing and rhythm being so critical in the passing game. Just a little bit late there.
Rich, assuming it is his toe in the front of the foot, how does that affect Delhomme's throw?
It makes it very difficult to drive the ball. And a lot of times when you're not able to plant that front foot, that ball can sail on you. And not only that, but it affects his ability to move around the pocket and avoid the rush.
Delhomme on 3rd and 9, working from the shotgun from his own 35.
Well, you got to protect yourself.
Delhomme, a little flip pass into the backfield. It's the tight end Benjamin Watson. And he'll barely get back to the original line of scrimmage as Cleveland will punt. Well, they may have to take an extended look at Delhomme on the sideline. Will limp his way off the field.
And not only that, but when you see a quarterback who can't move, if I'm Raheem Morris, I'm going to go after him. I'm going to attack him. I'm going to bring extra defenders to make sure that he has answers. Because if you can't protect yourself back there and you can't move, it's hard to play this position.
Reggie Hodges on to punt it away from his own 25. Hodges became the Browns punter late last season in December after starting the year on the practice squad. That one will squib out of bounds inside the 25. They did get to the kicker. Hodges, penalty marker, was down right in that area.
They're going to call holding. I always love when they show the officials discussing it.
Give us the little Jeopardy soundtrack music. Here's Jeff Triplett.
Holding 56 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Bucs will take the penalty. They'll make Hodges re-kick.
Dakota Watson. You remember, you go back to the very first punt that Hodges had. The Buccaneers, he got a hand on it, deflected it. So they're doing a good job getting some pressure off the edge in their punt coverage unit.
Well, there you saw Seneca Wallace, the backup Browns quarterback, on the sideline. Wallace has played today a couple of snaps. That Wildcat formation set with Joshua Cribbs may have to come out here as Delhomme continues to limp. Hodges gets a better kick here, spiraling punt. Spurlock backpedaling, fields at his own 26. Spurlock out of bounds, close to the 30. Another penalty marker is thrown. This one on the Tampa side of the field at about 37.
You'll see a lot of penalties early in the first couple weeks of the regular season because you have so many new players playing special teams for the first time.
Number 17, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
And so really has been a rookie wide receiver called on the penalty that'll pin Tampa a bit further inside their own territory. But the Bucs back into this game down 4, 3rd quarter in Tampa. Spiro Dedes, Rich Gannon, our entire CBS crew with you from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Rain starting to subside a bit as Josh Freeman takes over with the Bucs offense inside of 8 minutes left in the 3rd. Freeman's pass is low. It is caught at the 38-yard line by Sammy Stroughter. Freeman trying to spread it out a little bit more than he has so far, Rich, in this game.
And you and I were just talking about it. We have to get these other receivers involved in the game plan. We saw a little bit of Michael Williams in the first half. Nice job protecting the receiver. Good job here going down and getting it. Nice job by Sammy Stroughter making that play.
Again, if you've just joined us, Josh Freeman, first full season beginning today as the Bucs starting quarterback, playing with that fractured tip on the thumb of his right throwing hand. That's Cadillac Williams on first down. Not much room to go. Take a look at Freeman. Missed nearly 3 weeks of practice. Had just 8 snaps in the entire preseason. A reminder, it's not too late to play NFL.com's all-new fantasy football game. The first and only game with video. It's free and easy to play. Sign up today at NFL.com/fantasy. But you're already talking about a young, inexperienced kid. Just 8 snaps in the preseason after missing all that practice time. A very difficult play. Here's Cadillac Williams as a late penalty marker comes flying down behind the play after Williams bursts
Holding
to the 46.
75 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, this is really frustrating. You know, every time we get a big run out of the Bucs, we have a holding penalty. In the first half, it was Kellen Winslow, and then right now it's Davin Joseph. You have to be disciplined. And you just, well, you got to be smart. The penalty with a young football team, you know, the mistakes are magnified. You know, the penalties, the turnovers, the missed assignments, the mental errors. You just can't do that. You can't go out and expect to beat good football teams when you make those kind of mistakes.
Davin Joseph, the 26-year-old guard, is a single dad. Had to fight through a 2-year court battle to win custody of his son, Richard, who is no doubt watching on television today from Fort Lauderdale. Freeman's pass is complete to the near side. It's Ernest Graham, the backup running back, starting fullback this season for Greg Olson's offense. 8 yards through the air. And it'll set up a 3rd down and 10 coming up.
Well, these big numbers on 3rd down are tough. It's tough to make first downs when you're getting this down in distance. 3rd and long against that guy right there. He can make life miserable for quarterbacks in this business. It was fun talking to him last night, talking about his philosophy. I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you think about Rob Ryan, his dad Rex, his dad Buddy, with all those great defenses in Chicago and Philadelphia, and of course Rex as the defensive coordinator in Baltimore, now the head coach with the Jets.
Freeman has time, completes on 3rd down to Williams, well short of the marker. Just 3 yards, they needed 10. And now some players have to be separated behind the line of scrimmage. Freeman trying to play peacemaker. Bucs will punt on 4th down and 7.
This guy's fun to watch, Josh Cribbs. He just had an outstanding, he's really the one player I thought that really jump-started things last year late in the season. He's made so many big plays in the kicking game. And you know, when you're struggling as an offense, a big play in the kicking game, big return, positive field position can really get you going.
Here's Chris Bryan, the Australian native, on the punt. Cribbs standing back deep at his own 17. Short kick fielded by Cribbs at his own 27, takes a knee, loses the football at the 30. Tampa says they have it. No signal yet. Well, you don't know what's going on at the bottom of these piles.
And that's a ball, when you looked at it, you thought maybe he'd fair catch it. That's not really in Josh Cribbs' DNA. Very aggressive return guy.
Andrew Economos able to make the hit and jar the football loose.
And what you're seeing is these players are pulling the other players off the pile so they can't get their hands in there and pull it away from Blake Costanzo.
35-yard punt from Bryan, a return of just 4 yards from Cribbs. And Cleveland very fortunate to avoid their 3rd turnover today.
What a big hit.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by GMC, the official vehicle of the NFL. And by Verizon, the official wireless service provider of the NFL.
Well, the unpredictable Central Florida weather continuing today. First sun, intense heat giving way to rain, and now the sun's starting to peek through the clouds once again here in Tampa as Cleveland takes over possession, leading by 4 as we come up now below 5 minutes to play in this 3rd quarter. The ball again, a dangerous pass, incomplete just inside the 40, intended for Robert Royal, the tight end. As DeLome continues to play with that limp, favoring that right foot.
I tell you what, he takes some unnecessary risks. Look at the linebacker here. What if he just, Quincy Black, what if he just turns his head a split second earlier? Jake's making some aggressive throws that I don't know that he needs to make at this point in the game. You have to be careful. This is an athletic group at linebacker and at safety. You think that this is a solid secondary. The past 2 seasons, they have 41 interceptions. Only the Packers and the Ravens have more during that span.
DeLome 18 picks last season in Carolina, has already thrown 1 today. First down, minimal gain for Jerome Harrison. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Well, 60 Minutes has investigated a lot of frauds over the years, but few as dangerous as the one Scott Pelley uncovers. Plus a rare look at Beyonce tonight on 60 Minutes, only on CBS. It's a much watch with Beyonce coming up later tonight. We'll be tuned in for sure at the local airport here in Tampa.
Oh, behave.
3rd down for DeLome. They spot it just inside the 30-yard line. DeLome from the shotgun, 4 wide receiver formation for Brian Dable. It's complete to the 33. It's Chancey Stuckey. He'll be well short of the marker, and the Browns will punt.
Well, this Tampa defense has definitely tightened up here in the second half, as you see Rondé Barber. And, this is an experienced group, and I mentioned that Raheem Morris late in the year last year, they went back to the Tampa 2, and they have great history there, familiarity with it. The players understand the concepts and principles and where they need to be. I think without question the strength of this unit is their linebackers.
Did you just give me a little Michael Myers, by the way?
I did. Didn't know if you caught that or not.
There's Spurlock at his own 15-yard line. Marcus flag again behind the play.
Boy, penalties again on the special teams.
A good kick by Hodges, 52 yards, a return of just 5 from Spurlock.
So difficult for the special teams coaches on both sides. You have so many young players that you're rolling through during the preseason to try and evaluate your roster to see who's going to play.
Holding 21 to the return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
And what winds up happening is not a lot of these units have had a lot of time together.
Rich alluded to the field possession starting to become a factor here. Tampa again, Rich pinned back deep on their own side.
Yeah, not a lot of luck here in the second half, starting drives deep in their own territory here inside the 10.
There's Cadillac Williams on 1st down, getting to about 15-yard line, pick up 6 yards. There's a Taba Rubin, a new starter at the nose tackle position, makes the tackle.
Well, he's been very disruptive inside, and as I think about Josh Freeman and his continued development in this system, you get in these situations where you're backed up. I think it's important to realize, Rome wasn't built in a day. We can't go 80 yards all the time on one play. Just got to focus in on making good decisions, just moving the chains. That's got to be what you say to the young players in the huddle.
Freeman going play action.
There it is. Check it down.
Underneath pass to Williams. Williams has room. Nice cut back to the 30 to the 35-yard line. And more than enough for the Tampa 1st down. He picks up 20.
They talk about that jump cut with Cadillac Williams, and that's kind of his signature move. He's very elusive in the open field. But the great thing about Cadillac Williams, I think he's gotten better in the passing game. You just see him check out here, and now watch him make this move right there, back inside. The thing I like, he gives you everything he has on every touch.
Williams, Rich, the one proven entity with this Tampa offense. Such a young group. The only question with him has been durability and staying healthy. I mentioned that first torn patellar tendon back in 2007. Doctors doubted whether or not he would ever fully recover. Was able to come back late in the 08 season before tearing the patellar in the other knee. Well, they watched him rehab for 2 full years. And whether it's Raheem Morris, Greg Olsen, they talk about him with such respect for staying the path and fighting his way back.
They said it was painful to look out the windows at the facility over there and see him out there every day in February and March doing all the rehab. He said this is the one benefit this offseason. He hasn't had to do that. He is healthy once again.
Williams will get a blow. Freeman on 2nd down. Soft touch to his ball. It's caught for a moment, and then Winslow dropped it at the 42-yard line. Nearly a circus catch by the former Brown, Kellen Winslow.
A lot of quarterbacks wouldn't make this throw, but it's Kellen Winslow. And it's pretty good coverage by Mike Adams, the safety right there in the middle of your picture, number 20. But you have to give Kellen Winslow a chance to make these type of plays. He's made them throughout the course of his career. He almost pulled that one in.
Right over the top of Mike Adams, literally. Adams, who had the interception in the first half.
Done a good job containing Kellen Winslow. Just 3 catches today for 24 yards.
A little bunch formation set, 3rd down. They work from the shotgun. Winslow makes the catch this time, cuts back. Out past the 40, close to the 44-yard line, picks up 8 yards, but he is short of that first down marker, and the Bucs will punt.
That's a tough assignment to cover a guy like Kellen Winslow all around the field. He's a great route runner. He catches the ball away from his body like a receiver, but it's what he does after the catch. He's a tremendous runner, and he's very physical, and he's tough to bring down.
Well, the one thing they do, they don't sustain the drive, Rich, but they do improve their field possession. The field position, I should say, as they give their punter, Chris Bryant, some room to maneuver. But boy, a terrible punt by Bryant. And we'll take a Tampa bounce inside the 25, close to the 20-yard line.
He's been inconsistent today.
Just a 36-yard punt from Bryant. This Wednesday on the premiere of Survivor, can former NFL coach Jimmy Johnson lead his team to victory? Don't miss Survivor on its new night. Premieres this Wednesday, only on CBS.
You know, I talked to Jimmy Johnson about his experience on Survivor a couple weeks ago. He said he had to lose a lot of weight, get himself in shape. He had to pass a physical. Tried out for it a couple years ago, wasn't able to pass the physical, but he said he had a lot of fun. I asked him if it was more difficult doing Survivor or trying to win a world championship. He said it was very grueling and very competitive.
Well, speaking of grueling and health, Jake Delhomme to the sideline. No official word if this is related to what appears to be a right foot injury, but Seneca Wallace, the backup, comes into the game. They go wildcat formation, the direct snap to Cribbs. But once again, Tampa has him covered as we reach the end of the 3rd quarter. So Delhomme on the sideline looks as though he may come back onto the field to start the 4th quarter. But they'll have a chance to regroup and make a decision at the quarterback. Through 3 in Tampa, it's a 4-point game. Start of the 4th quarter from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Jake Delhomme back under center. Limp and all, his Cleveland Browns leading Tampa 14-10. Delhomme under center on 2nd and 10 from his own 21. Finds Cribbs. Cribbs out past the 25 and tackled at the 27-yard line. We've been talking about Jake Delhomme all day. His career with Carolina coming to a close quickly after the 09 season.
Look at
another look at the replay.
You know, it's not that hard, Spiro, as I mentioned. You hand it to him, you toss it to him, and you throw it to him. He's your most explosive player right now offensively, and you have to continue, as I mentioned before, to find ways to keep him involved in this offense. He's just too talented a player not to feature.
Delhomme from the shotgun on 3rd and 5.
He's really gotten better as a receiver.
Delhomme has time. Ooh. Not a huge threat with his feet. Tripped up from the back, picks up a yard. Tackle made by Styles G. White, and Cleveland will punt.
Well, an area that was really a problem a year ago was their inability to get pressure on the quarterback. You see him double McCoy there, but look at Styles White, their leading sacker a year ago. Nice job coming off and working back up inside.
Joshua Cribbs has been on the field in numerous capacities, but so far they've struggled to really get him into some open space and into a dangerous position. Reggie Hodges, good punt. Fielded by Spurlock at his own 25-yard line. Spurlock takes a low hit, minimal return, as Freeman and Tampa will take over when we come back. A 47-yard punt from Reggie Hodges. Well, Jake Delhomme's been up and down today. You see his numbers in comparison to his 2nd-year counterpart. Rushing numbers today, Jerome Harrison, quiet start, has come on 49 yards on just 6 carries.
I think you look at both of the quarterbacks, they're working with a lot of different players around them, different personnel, particularly at the wide receiver position. Both of these teams very young and inexperienced at wide receiver.
Tampa still has this game there for the taking. Early fourth quarter, down only 4. Touchdown gives them the lead. Here's Freeman again time. Throwing in his back foot, he completes nonetheless to Mike Williams, the rookie. Williams, a long touchdown on the day for Tampa, picks up first down yardage down past the 40-yard line.
Mike Williams has a great feel for the game. You just watch him right here. Now he's got him beat. Give him the ball. Look how long it takes. But watch Mike keep working back. Keep working back to the quarterback. We talk about friendly angles. This guy knows what he's doing. I've been really impressed today with Mike Williams.
Mike Williams told us on Friday his goal is to be the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year, and so far he's off to a good start. Here's Williams fighting his way to midfield after a 4-yard pickup. Williams, 4 catches and 29 yards, including the touchdown. This is the man throwing him the football, Josh Freeman. Turning the corner. This was the longest run of his career, 33 yards early, but then the pick.
Yeah, up and down. And you know, it was interesting when we visited with him on Friday. His mindset's different in year 2. He wasn't happy when he went back and watched the film from a year ago. You know, the recognition wasn't where it needed to be. At times, he was predetermining where to go with the ball. He said, really, more than anything, I was just trying to survive my first year.
A short pass flaring to Williams at the line of scrimmage. Freeman told us, Rich, at the end of last season, he went back home to Kansas City to kind of get away from it, and after a couple of weeks, he was ready to come back. And they said he lived at one Buck place the entire season, spending 5 and 6 hours working out and watching game tape of last season.
Yeah, I was pleased to hear that. He's a guy that's willing to do the work, and I think that's important. And I think what you normally see, that the most progress with these young quarterbacks is from year 1 to year 2. They have a better grasp of the offense. I think the game begins to slow down. And as a result, you see the accuracy, the decision-making, that improve. Remember, he's out there now. He's got a broken right thumb. It's not easy to even grip and throw that football.
Bucs 4 of 11 on 3rd down. They will not succeed here. Freeman sacked Marcus Bernard, who's had a couple of big plays today for Cleveland. Able to wrap him up. And once again, Tampa's offense stalling.
They do a great job with the pressures. They continue to mix them up. We talked about they have a number of different looks, but I've really been impressed with T.J. Ward, the safety for the Browns, 2nd-round pick out of Oregon. He likes contact. He's a factor. He's always around the line of scrimmage, and he's willing to show up and run support.
Cribbs calling for the fair catch. It takes a very favorable bounce for Tampa inside the 10. They'll down it at the 7-yard line. Aurelius Ben making it happen on the special teams for Tampa. 45-yard punt from Brian, timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sprint, the Now Network. Allstate, dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you like Allstate. And by Bud Light. It's a sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Spero Dinas, Rich Gannon with you. And look outside Raymond James Stadium. Early 4th quarter, Cleveland taking over a 4-point lead, but they're pinned inside their own 10-yard line. DeLome on the handoff to Jerome Harrison. Minimal gain on first down after he's brought down by Geno Hayes, the outside linebacker. We've touched on Gerald McCoy, drafted with the 3rd overall pick in April's draft to be the cornerstone, Rich, of this new Tampa defense.
You know, he's been very disruptive in this game. He's a powerful penetrator there at the line of scrimmage, and I was really impressed. He spent some time with Warren Sapp. Warren told him 3 things you need to work on. You can't go out there with fear. You have to play with balance, and you have to have a plan. And I think that's some great advice coming from a future Hall of Famer.
Long giving back to Harrison. This time he loses yardage. Geno Hayes getting there once again. They lose 4 yards.
When you think about the linebackers in Tampa Bay, they're not the biggest, but they can run. They are very fast. Geno Hayes, their 2nd leading tackler a year ago, he makes a lot of plays off the edge.
Hayes, a first-year starter in 2009, one of those classic run and hit Florida State Seminole linebackers.
Well, these linebackers have really benefited from the time, guys like Barrett Roode and Geno Hayes, from the time they spent with Shelton Quarles and Derek Brooks learning this Tampa defense.
3rd and 13 from the 4-yard line. Harrison just trying to give Cleveland some breathing room on the punt. Brought down at the 10, and they'll kick it away after Harrison picks up 6.
We mentioned it at the last series. This defense is playing some inspired football here in the second half. And I think that as you look at it, this group is not wearing down. They are playing with a lot of energy and a lot of motion. You see them running on and off the field, flying around, making a lot of plays.
It's a tough spot here for Reggie Hodges, punting from inside his end zone. Good looking kick. Spurlock fielding from his own 42. Spurlock cuts back and lunges inside Cleveland territory to the 47-yard line. 48 yards on the punt, 10 yards on the return from Spurlock. A reminder coming up next, it's the U.S. Open men's final from New York. Top-seeded Rafa Nadal has won every Grand Slam but the U.S. Open. He'll look to break through against the 3rd seed Novak Djokovic. It's all coming up next right here, only on CBS.
I just like to try and return just one of their serves, just one time. One of their fastballs right down the middle, 126 miles an hour. See if I can get my racket on it.
Roger Federer upset yesterday. Dick Enberg and company will have the call from Arthur Ashe Stadium later tonight.
A great field position. You have to take advantage of it. Starting to run out of opportunities.
Clock continues to run. 8:35 remaining. The pass tipped, intended for Winslow. It was atop of Rubin. Those big mitts getting a hand on it.
As a quarterback, I'd always tell that offensive line, when they begin to put their hands up, that's when you go right at their chest. Right there, just enough. See Rubin in there getting that hand up. That's the last thing you want to see as a quarterback. That ball deflected.
What a story Rubin was coming on late last season after Shawn Rogers was lost for the year with the ankle injury. Rubin back in his home state, grew up in a very rough neighborhood in Pensacola, Florida. Playing in front of family and friends today. Freeman on 2nd down, throwing to the near sideline. It's incomplete. Spurlock trying to gain his footing, making Sammy Stroughter the intended receiver.
This is what you can't do if you're Sammy Stroughter at the top of your route. You can't stumble coming out of the break. Josh Freeman does a nice job there. He finds the one-on-one coverage. He makes a good decision, but Stroughter just stumbles at the top.
Now, Rich, this is the other thing we heard from Raheem Morris. Again, very limited practice time for Freeman, out nearly 3 weeks of practice with that fractured thumb. Even in practice this week, towards the end of their workouts, talked about the soreness becoming an issue. And you wonder how he feels right now late in this game as we approach here 8 minutes left in the 4th.
Even the fatigue of squeezing the ball with the grip.
Freeman completes to the 35-yard line, this time finding Stroughter. And Tampa moves the chains with a huge first down.
You know what's really impressed me as I watch Josh Freeman, his ability to slide right and left, reset his feet, and make an accurate throw. It's been really impressive, and he's still finding out about guys like Stroughter and Mike Williams and Spurlock. And it really has been. This is a young group. They are going to learn together. This guy has shown me today, Josh Freeman, he's willing to sit in there with a tough jaw, ignore the rush, and make the big throw.
Freeman, the 17th overall pick in 2009.
Oh, you got it right there.
Play action, has his man wide open, Williams, and he missed him.
You can't miss him when you have him that wide open. Spiro, you and I saw that way up here in the booth very early. Just watch. He sells the run. The corner has his eyes in the backfield. Mike Williams is wide open. You can't miss him. Just look at that ball. Now see there. Look at that ball. The spiral on that ball. See that thing wobble? As I mentioned, that grip, when you're not able to squeeze that ball and drive that throw, we saw that in Friday in practice. His inability to drive the ball has been an issue.
Wind to mitten rains today have also been an issue. The moisture on the football. Minimal gain by Cadillac Williams.
They go back.
Getting back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10.
There's a number of plays that they've had a chance to really hurt the Browns with. They go back to the first quarter, the play action shot to Mike Williams where Sheldon Brown was able to come back and make the play. Another shot there where Sheldon Brown has his eyes in the backfield. You have a Mike Williams wide open. You don't get that many opportunities in this kind of game against a defense like this. You have to hit him when you have him that wide open.
We move inside of 7 minutes left in the fourth. Tampa down 14-10. Third down, Freeman throwing end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Tampa. Michael Spurlock making the catch. There is a penalty marker back at the 15-yard line. If it stands, it'll be a 33-yard touchdown play.
Well, great job by Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator.
Illegal contact. 23 of the defense. That penalty is declined. Result, the touchdown.
Well, you wouldn't be able to live with yourself if you didn't challenge Joe Hayden, the rookie at the top of your screen. Great job with protection. You see Cadillac Williams in there. Freeman does a nice job giving Spurlock a chance, but you have to go after the rookie. Nice job, nice play call by the Bucs.
Connor Barthon for the point after attempt. To try to give Tampa a 3-point lead. Bart's kick is through, and Tampa with a 17-14 lead. Where the young quarterback Josh Freeman showing them something here in Tampa after missing one just moments earlier, finding Spurlock, and Tampa with its first lead. Bucs taking their first lead. A look at their scoring drive. 6 plays. Freeman 2 of 5, 47 yards. Boy, after missing a surefire touchdown to the rookie Mike Williams, Richie comes right back and finds Michael Spurlock, and it's 17-14 Bucs. Booming kick fielded by Cribbs. Boy, he's going to take it out about 8 yards deep in his own end zone. Penalty markers thrown behind the play. Once again, Cribbs is bottled up on special teams.
Holding 58 of the return team. Half the distance to goal. First down.
Marcus Bernard, the culprit, and that'll pin Cleveland back a little bit deeper on their own side of the field. Josh Freeman beginning his first full season as the Bucs starter has given Tampa the 3-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. Watch your favorite team wherever you live, only on DirecTV. Call to switch today. And by Subway Restaurants. Build your better breakfast and grab lunch to go too.
Emotions running high here at Raymond James Stadium opening day. The young Bucs allowed to hang around for most of the day by Cleveland, and they have come back to bite them. Jake Delhomme back onto the field. His pass on first down incomplete. Intended for Brian Robisky. E.J. Biggers making his NFL debut as a starter for Aqib Talib makes the play.
He has played really well today. Watch this athleticism, just jumping in there and getting a hand. He's only played a handful of downs in the NFL, stepping in, as you mentioned, for Aqib Talib, who was their best cover corner last year, led them in interceptions. He's suspended for the first game of the season. E.J. Biggers has stepped in and played very well.
Here's Delhomme under center. 2nd and 10 from the 6. Delhomme goes play action. His pass not even close. Trying to find Benjamin Watson. It's incomplete. So we just mentioned E.J. Biggers, the cornerback. Placed on injured reserve with a shoulder injury late in the preseason last year. Missed the entire year as a rookie. His first year wiped out. But unlike most first-year players who go on injured reserve that leave, kind of train, and are forgotten, he stuck around. Was in every meeting room, every game planning session, and that earned the respect, Rich, of his head coach, Raheem Morris.
He had an outstanding training camp. When you talk to Raheem, he felt very comfortable having him in the lineup today. And the crowd noise becoming a factor. Very difficult backed up in this part of the field.
Delhomme has time. Lofting pass intercepted, and it's E.J. Biggers with the pick.
Now, the one thing that Jake Delhomme did not want to do today, come out here and turn the football over. You can see the frustration on Eric Mangini's face. You let a team like the Bucs hang around, and things like this will happen late in the game. You get backed up, you got a 3rd and long, you're taking a shot, the receiver's late getting his heads around, you're thrown into double coverage. Biggers knows that he has help over the top from Sean Jones. You're going to see him right there. A poorly underthrown ball. You just cannot make this throw out of your own end zone. Jake knows better.
Rich, really no surprise with DeLong. He'll tease you with some incredible throws, unorthodox throws, but he has made 2 terrible decisions today that may come back to cost Cleveland this opening day win.
You give yourself no chance when you turn the ball over on the road.
So once again, Freeman's offense onto the field. Great field position inside Cleveland territory. Ernest Graham with 4 yards on first down. And now they try to milk that clock as much as they can, leading 17-14.
Now this is where the heat and humidity and the conditioning, I think, really come into play. I mean, everybody is gassed. You really got to dig down deep inside to find out what you have left. And I think if you're Josh Freeman, you step into this huddle, you look up at the plate clock, you say, guys, we're at 5:50. We're going to run the football down their throats. We are going to wear out this group, and we're going to win this football game. We're not going to settle for a field goal in this part of the field. A touchdown, we win. That's got to be the mindset. You have to encourage, you got to push this group up front to get it done. Open up some holes.
Down to 1 second. Freeman has to take a timeout. That'll be Tampa's first.
Yeah, indecision there.
Browns have all 3 of their timeouts left. Another reminder coming up next. It's the U.S. Open men's final from New York. Top-seeded Rafa Nadal has won every Grand Slam but the U.S. Open. He'll look to break through against the 3rd-seeded Novak Djokovic. It's all coming up next from the USTA Tennis Center in New York. Dick Enberg and company on the call coming up next on CBS. Brian Dable seated on that Cleveland bench, the offensive coordinator of the Browns. Trying to sort through what has happened and then game planning for that next possession that they hope is coming here at some point.
You know, Alex Van Pelt, we mentioned him earlier, Spiro, in the first quarter. The quarterback coach who came over from Buffalo, was the offensive coordinator there a year ago. He really understands this West Coast system. He's kind of a guru, worked with Paul Hackett and Mike McCarthy. He's really helped Josh with his footwork.
Cadillac Williams again getting close to the 30. You mentioned Van Pelt. There's no veteran backup to mentor Freeman, and that's why Van Pelt has been so huge. The other thing that they did, Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator who coached Drew Brees at Purdue, set up a meeting and sent both of his top 2 quarterbacks, both Freeman and Josh Johnson, to San Diego to spend a week with Brees during the offseason, and he said it was huge.
Yeah, what an amazing experience to get a chance to go out there with the Super Bowl quarterback, a guy that you beat last year who's in your own division, and get a chance to kind of pick his brain. I think it just tells you the respect that Drew Brees has for Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator. Josh went out there, spent some time working out with them, you know, asking them questions in the classroom. Very valuable experience for a young quarterback.
Huge 3rd and short. Williams the first down and much more. Inside the 15, down to the 10-yard line. Williams with a big day, picks up 20 on the burst, and Tampa with a first down.
And this is something they weren't able to do a year ago. Finish teams off in the 4th quarter. Look at that hole. Great job by Vincent pulling, kicking out. And Cadillac does a nice job getting up on the 2nd level. But this is where you know you're growing as a football team. When you have a team on the ropes, the ability to make some first downs, to drive the length of the field, to keep their offense off the field, and finish. Learn how to finish games in the 4th quarter.
Williams over 800 yards last season. And a very shaky offensive front. Quarterback questions, of course, makes what he did last year even more impressive as Ernest Graham gives Williams a blow, gets close to the 5-yard line.
This is when football is fun with that group up front. You know, that offensive line in Tampa Bay has done a nice job. I really think it's the strength of this unit. They've played a lot of football together. The only new addition, Kedrick Vincent, the left guard, and he's a veteran group. But this group has done a nice job not only protecting Josh Freeman, but getting some movement up front in the running game.
Tampa just 3-13 last season, missed the postseason once again, 2nd straight year, 3rd time in 5 years with no playoff football here in Tampa. Trying to get off on the right foot with an opening day win against Cleveland. Give on inside the 5, I should say, on 2nd down. Cadillac Williams again. Robert Smith, defensive end, makes the tackle.
I think you just keep running it. Just keep pounding it up inside there. Bring your heavy personnel on the field. You see they're doing that right now.
Williams, 18 rushes, 63 yards. It'll be 3rd and short.
An extra lineman in the game, Jeremy Zuta. So you're going to have an unbalanced line on the left side. Take a look at the left side of this offensive line here in Tampa Bay. You have an extra offensive lineman over there.
Roy Miller lining up in the backfield as the fullback puts it on the floor, and it's recovered by Cleveland. Eric Barton falling on the football. Or the sign of a young team, a victory right in their lap, and they have given Cleveland new life.
And I guess you have to ask yourself, why not Cadillac Williams? Why not give him the ball? He was running so well down there. They make the change. They put the ball on the ground. Well, you just can't let this happen in this part of the field. You have to take care of the ball. We talked about ball security. We've seen a number of times today where the backs have been careless. Ernest Graham, a veteran player, you just can't allow that to happen down there. You had a chance to put this team away. Now you give Jake Delhomme and this offense plenty of time. 3 timeouts, 2:17 left, a chance to go the length of the field.
5 combined turnovers today, and the second committed by Tampa. And now Jake Delhomme a chance to atone for some earlier miscues here. Down 3 with 2:15 remaining. Short pass play to Peyton Hillis, the fullback. Hillis has had a big day, picks up 3 yards there. Clock continues to run as we'll come up here on the 2-minute warning.
You know, Jake Delhomme is really laboring getting away from center. I've watched his drops here now in the second half. He's not doing a good job. That is bothering him. That foot injury, he's late getting away. He's not doing a good job pushing off.
2-minute warning in Tampa. Cleveland has it, down 3. Jake Delhomme out of the shotgun, 2 minutes to play, down 3, deep in their own territory, and now to make matters even more difficult, the heavens have opened up here in Tampa. 2nd and 7, Delhomme from the shotgun. Same pass play as a moment ago, finding Hillis. Hillis close to the first down marker, may have gotten enough, and it looks like he has. They'll move the chains. It's a first down.
This isn't even fair if you're Jake Delhomme. I mean, all you're trying to do is make a few plays here at the end of the game, and you get the ball back, an opportunity, and it starts to pour like this.
Jake Delhomme, the 35-year-old quarterback. What a start this would be to his Cleveland career if he can bring them back to tie here. Down 17-14 with a $1:54 to play. Browns have all 3 timeouts left. Delhomme under pressure, throwing, incomplete.
And that's the thing that Jake needs to do a better job of. It's first down, you're in a 2-minute situation. Throwing the ball away on first down is a good thing. It stops the clock. It gives you a chance to make substitutions. It gives your play caller a chance to dial up something else. The last thing you can afford to do there is take a sack.
There's Phil Dawson, his career-long 56-yarder.
Boy, they're overloading
62 at the end of the second.
They're really overloading this side of that front.
Delhomme on 2nd and 10 from the shotgun. Rolling right, penalty marker thrown. He'll throw it away. And this one could be a holding penalty against Cleveland. Tim Crowder there to apply the pressure for the Bucs. Jeff Triplett is our referee, conversing with his colleagues there at the 10-yard line. Clock stopped at a $1:40 to play. Cleveland down 17-14.
2 fouls on the play before the quarterback's out of the pocket. Illegal contact. Number 20 of the defense. Holding. 78 of the offense. By rule, those penalties all set. Repeat, 2nd down.
Rondé Barber penalized, but Tampa catches the break with the holding penalty to offset. As John St. Clair whistled for the hold. So they'll redo 2nd and 10.
You know, as I look out on the field, the one surprise for me as I look at Cleveland's lineup, Joshua Cribbs is not on the field. He's a bigger receiver, a chance to match up against one of these smaller corners. You need a big play.
Cribbs a very minimal impact today. Delhomme is hit as he throws from the back, incomplete. It is ruled an incompletion.
And this group up front from Tampa Bay has really turned it on. With Tim Crowder there coming off the edge. They're getting a lot of push up inside from Gerald McCoy. Look at McCoy just beat Womack right off the line. You're going to see Crowder right there come in and finish it.
Tim Crowder, the fourth-year man from Texas, really starting to come on for Raheem Morris in this defense. Josh Cribbs on the field, one of 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 10. DeLome slinging it to the 20, finding Cribbs. He's short of the first down marker.
This would be a good time for a timeout. Got to use a timeout here.
Cleveland with all 3 timeouts left. No signal yet from Mangini.
Nice job coming back by Josh Cribbs.
Boy, interesting non-decision here not to use the timeout. This is the football game. Down 3 on 4th down and 3 from the 20.
Wow, they got a penalty too. I'm really surprised they didn't take a timeout there. They had 3. Very difficult to put that time back on the clock.
False start, 77 in the offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Floyd Womack moved prematurely. What is the mindset? Is it just not to allow the defense to set? Rich, what?
Well, I think in a critical situation like that on 4th down, I want to not only stop the clock, but I want to make sure I get the best play dialed up and the best personnel on the field. A chance to think about it. That is a critical call in the game.
And you can bet Mangini will be second-guessed if Cleveland ends up losing this game.
We're not talking about 1 timeout left. They had all 3.
And they still have 3 timeouts in their back pocket. 4th down, DeLome's throw, not even close, incomplete. Chancey Stuckey was the intended target at the 30, and Tampa takes over on downs with a chance to put this game away.
Well, that player right there, Ronde Barber, has made a lot of big plays over the years. We talked about the fact he's 168 straight regular season games. You just watch him peel back. You see Stuckey the whole way. Jake's got to give Stuckey a better opportunity to make a catch there. That one just sailed on him a little bit.
Ronde Barber, year 14 in the NFL, as DeLome reacts to the play. Barber, a year older than his head coach, Raheem Morris, starting his 193rd consecutive game here today. So 17-14 Tampa with inside of a minute to play in this 4th quarter. They're not taking any chances. Cadillac Williams on the handoff, and now Cleveland will start to use their timeouts finally. Rich, I'm just not sure how you can possibly justify not calling a timeout if you're Eric Mangini before that 4th down play.
And then to make matters worse, you get an offsides penalty. A false start by your right guard, pork chop Womack. And you can see the frustration on Eric Mangini's face. You know, so much work, so much preparation goes into this first game. You know, you start working on this game in the spring, and you start taking a day or 2 in training camp to start getting extra reps and extra work on Tampa Bay. And so you have 10 days to the last regular season game, and you just feel like this football team played well enough to win, but then you go back to the mistakes, the turnovers, the penalties. You know, they just didn't capitalize on field position, and they just really looked sluggish to me in the second half.
If you've just joined us, Cleveland had a 14-3 lead in this game, appeared to be in control. But a Jake DeLome interception late in the first half got Tampa back into the game. So 14 unanswered points have taken us to where we are now, 17-14 Tampa. Williams brought down. Cleveland will use its 2nd of 3 timeouts. Williams picks up 6 yards. Now the clock stopped at 44 seconds. Cleveland 5-11 a year ago, winning 4 straight games to close out the season. Wholesale changes at the quarterback position.
Look at Peyton Hillis there. He's got to be sick. There's a very good football player. I think this is going to be a great addition for this football team, but unfortunately did not do a good job taking care of the ball today. Those 2 fumbles were absolutely devastating for this offense.
One of which was recovered by Tampa. It'll be a long week of film study for Hillis and his Cleveland offense. Those Mondays after a loss like this can't be fun.
Well, the plane trip home is never fun, and of course coming into the facility on Monday to begin to watch the film and go over the corrections, let's just say it's never pleasant.
3rd and 1, they call it from the 6. Williams trying to lunge to the first down to the 5-yard line.
You know, a couple players really jumped out at me, Spiro, as I looked at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today, some of these young players. I really thought Mike Williams had an outstanding day, and of course, Gerald McCoy was really strong and had a presence up there in the middle. And it's good to see the young players contribute.
Well, this is not what they want to see, certainly on Tampa's side. Cadillac Williams trying to limp back onto his feet, waving off the sub. Telling Kareem Huggins to go back to the sideline.
Get a chance to look at Joe Hayden. And every time out is a learning experience for a player like Joe, and I thought he did some good things. Gave up that one big touchdown to Spurlock, and that was frustrating. He had himself in position. But the thing you know about Joe Hayden is he's going to come back. He's got a short-term memory. You have to have it to play that position. I think he can be a lockdown corner once he figures things out in this Rob Ryan defense.
4th down and 1. Morris will go for it here. Cleveland pinned back deep anyway. Morris play action, which has taken knee, sacked at the 12. With 34 seconds left, so one last gasp here for Jake Delhomme in Cleveland.
Wow, he had John Gilmore early there. He could have maybe thrown a touchdown. He's just trying to be very cautious in that situation. Don't want an incompletion.
It's Jason Tresnick, the backup linebacker in his 4th season out of Ohio Northern, on the sack. So 34 seconds on the clock. Cleveland out of timeouts. Again, the career-long field goal for Phil Dawson, 56 yards. Missed from 62 earlier in the first half.
Well, you need some big chunks, and you really want to try and attack the boundary. Those deep bench routes, those 20 to 25-yard routes into cover 2. These are tough throws for the quarterback. Not high percentage throws, but you have to give the receivers a chance to make a play.
Cleveland will have to get to about the 38 of Tampa to get inside of Dawson's range. Delhomme slings it down the side. It's caught, and now they say incomplete. Brian Robisky made the catch, but just ran out of real estate.
This should never happen. A receiver like this into 2 deep coverage, gets by the corner and in between the safety. That was almost a perfect throw. He couldn't get that right foot back in. He actually jumped out of his shoe. He lost his shoe there. What a great shot. These safeties have not been very good today. Their angle's not good enough.
Delhomme on 2nd down takes another crack.
Now you got to hurry up. Run down there and clock it. Hustle. Everybody's got to get to the ball.
That's Evan Moore, the backup tight end. No timeouts for Cleveland. All right. Delhomme will down it with 13 seconds. 17-14 Tampa. There's Dawson. Again, we mentioned they need to get to about the 38-yard line of Tampa to get Dawson within striking distance.
Again, if you complete a ball in the field of play, this game will probably end. Very difficult to get that group lined up, run down the field, pick up 20 or 25 yards, and get the clock stopped.
So basically, Rich, if you're Delhomme, you're looking to the sidelines here, obviously.
And look where the defenders are. As you pan back, look at the defending the boundary. They're defending the boundary down here.
Delhomme has time.
Got to throw it.
Throws sideline.
Get out of bounds.
At the 40. It's Stuckey on the reception, and they will not get out of bounds, and it's over.
Really nice job by Tampa there at the end. They moved those corners way out to protect the boundary.
14 straight points for Tampa after they trailed by 11, and they've won it here on opening day. Your final score, the Bucs 17 and Cleveland 14.